Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another edition of An Orchid a Day. Today I am dealing with this cattleya cross that I pulled from my live yesterday that I said I was going to. This is cattleya chocolate drop crossed with cattleya skinneri. Skinneri is it's a species orchid. I think skinneri now is guarianthe, so I would consider it the same culture as Borinjana, which would be they get their growths during the growing season after they bloom, which would be early spring through the summer, and then they put up sheaths. Then those sheaths bloom later on in the fall around October, and then they start all over again. They get a brief rest, but then they start all over again, more or less. Cattleya chocolate drop is a cross between two species. It's a primary cross between Cattleya guttata and Cattleya clandii. No, guttata and aurantiaca. Both of them are bifoliates. Both of them like a lot of light, a lot of water during the growth season. When they're putting up their new growths, they put up the sheaths at the end of their completed growth, mature of the pseudobulb, and then they both hold their spikes, they hold their sheaths until the following spring or the next spring, and then they generally will bloom from that sheath. Guttata is fragrant. So yeah, I put a flower of the cross. I have had this cross a couple of years, maybe 3 years. It had bloomed really nice for me, but it's always been fairly temperamental, fairly susceptible to scale. And also, the thing about this plant is that it is very sensitive to watering, to the point that I almost think it's better to not water it than to water it during certain times, particularly when it is putting up its new growth. When it gets to be a certain height, it's a little bit safer to water. Watering meaning that the plant is taking it in and it is coming out the other end of the pot. Not just a light watering where it never leaves the bottom of the pot. It's very susceptible to that when it's putting up its new growths. Sometimes it can rot the whole growth. Sometimes it can rot the whole pseudobulb. Does that a lot. And unfortunately, this plant is put outside in the spring, so that is when it is putting up its new growths, and so it is really difficult to keep new growths on this plant. These growths came up after the season was completed. During the season, I want to say it put up probably 3 growths, which all were aborted because of rain. It wasn't until I brought the plant inside. So perhaps this is a plant that needs to just stay inside for the whole year, because it's just so sensitive to when it's putting up its new growths. And even that whole period where they're holding their growths, when they do get a dry rest after they've completed their growths. And sometimes they can even push out their sheaths this time of the year. As you can see, there are new roots that are coming out of the plant. This is the time when it is usually pushing out its sheaths and blooming. And the blooms are very beautiful, they are fragrant, very vivid red. These are not pushing out any sheaths, but I'm just glad that it finally did put out 3 new growths for me, which matured this winter. But what I want to do is just kind of clean up the plant, and it does have some scale. I want to clean that off and cut off some of the bits back here. I don't think it needs to be repotted, because as you can see, these are the newest growths. This is the growth points, and you can see the roots are going into the media. And I know that this is that new kind of stone that I just started using last year. So I think it was just potted a year ago in the spring last year, not quite a year. I can recognize that media. So it's probably good for now. So what I'm gonna do is just spray it down, and I'm going to use my little toothbrush to gently get all of the scale out, strip all of these sheaths, and that should be it. Once again, thank you all for watching. If you're a fan of these kind of videos, or just like listening to me pretend like I know what I'm talking about, feel free to like the video and subscribe to my channel. So yeah, you've seen me do this before. I use a for sensitive teeth, it's soft bristle, and it's actually I think it might actually be a baby, made for a baby. But yeah, I'm mostly just trying to manually get the scale that I'm seeing off the fronts and the back of the leaves, excuse me. So it's really kind of simple. And I just find that using a brush is just a little bit more effective. In the summertime when they're outside, what I use as my first defense there is the hose. And I put the hose on a very fast stream, like it's coming out very fast. And it may seem like it's damaging the plants. You know, that's not scale, that's just, I might actually leave that because it looks like it's just, I had thought initially that the scale was down the stem, but now that I look, it doesn't appear that it is. It seems to be just on the leaves. So, as you can see, this is how I do it. I spray it first, and then I go behind it, kind of get what I see off, and then I will rinse this off with water, and then spray it once more. That's what I plan on doing. And this plant I will most likely leave out here and pay close attention to it. If it were still growing, if it were a plant that were growing, I probably would put it back in its grow area, because in here right now in the house, the humidity is pretty non-existent because it's so cold outside. So yeah, the humidity in here, it's 30%. That's horrible. But because of the fact that it is technically resting, it is more easily handled, and a lot of these cattleyas prefer a drop in the humidity. A lot of plants that bloom in the spring, they like a drop from their usual like between 70 and 75%. They like a drop to more like 60, 65%. Maybe that helps them initiate blooming. I'm not sure, but that's what I've read in some of the literature on a lot of these bifoliates and just spring blooming plants in general. So yeah, just really making sure, as I've always said, you have to mind your poo, your power of observation. For those of you that can't spell, P-O-O spells poo. I'm not being nasty. Even though I could be. Certainly have a dirty mind. Most men do, I think. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I think those sheets are clean, so I'm gonna take the risk and leave them so that I don't, because it's the least restrictive, least invasive, and just by spraying the chemical on them is already pretty harsh. So if I don't have to tear the plant apart to get at the scale, if you don't have to dig the hole to get the groundhog, then you try to avoid that. So yeah, that's my philosophy. And I'm just gonna rinse that off. Check it again. Spray it one more time. Thank you all for sticking with me. But this is just how I do it. If I haven't said, I'm sure I haven't said, this is ENSTAR HQ, I believe. I'll put the name of it. And then, where's my, I thought I had it right here. Okay, got my scissors. Got my alcohol. Disinfect. And I'm just gonna cut off some of these old dried up pseudobulbs that have no purpose. Just cutting them off, and that's why I sort of ignored them in the process of cleaning. If you were wondering, just because I knew I was gonna chop them off. So, and that looks a whole lot better. Whole lot better. So yeah, everyone, that's my video for today. And if you've enjoyed my video, I thank you a lot for pressing the like button. And I will probably see you soon on a live. Enjoy your orchids. Bye.